Hi everyone, I'm Cesar Cano, a culinary instructor from Houston, Texas, and today I'm taking over Taco Gear's YouTube channel with a new series we are calling Taco Foundations. And welcome to the final episode of the series. So far in the series, we have covered how to make 3 different types of tortillas: maseca, flour, and nixtamal. In the previous episode, I showed you how to make a delicious and interesting and offbeat vegetarian taco that might make you reconsider your meat eating habits. Well, for this final bonus episode, I'm gonna show you how to make yet another vegetarian taco. Today, we're gonna be making a spicy chayote taco. And the ingredients you're gonna need to make this is, obviously, 1 chayote. We're gonna make it spicy by making a salsa macha. For the salsa macha, you're going to need garlic cloves. You're going to need a combination of chile de arbol and chili Pequin. You're going to need some sesame seeds. Don't forget, all measurements and step-by-step instructions can be found on my website, taquesan.com. Now, because the salsa macha is so spicy, we're gonna need some balance in this taco. And for that, we're gonna make a cool cabbage slaw. For that, you're going to need cucumber, a little bit of serrano, some red onion, half a cabbage head, dressing, and part of our garnish is going to be this amazing pumpkin seed and chile de arbol crumble. Once again, all measurements and step-by-step instructions for the crumble and the dressing can be found on the website, taquesan.com. Step number 1 in making this taco is to prep your chayote. So take your chayote, and I like to slice off just a tiny amount so it can sit flat. And then from this point, I'm going to slice it into about 1/2-inch slices. Once you get to this part where it's a little tricky, feel free to lay it on its side and kind of come in like this to keep your hands nice and wholesome with no blood anywhere. Now we're going to season the chayote because chayote is it has high water content. And you guys know when you do water or splatter any kind of water in a high fat like oil or butter, it just goes everywhere. It's a little dangerous. So we're gonna use salt to draw out some of that moisture and season at the same time. So I'm gonna season the chayote on both sides using some kosher salt. And I'm gonna let it sit for 10 minutes. During those 10 minutes, we'll be prepping our salsa macha. And then by the time our salsa macha is done, our chayote will have been seasoned, excess moisture will have been removed by the salt. During the 10 minutes that your chayote is being seasoned by the salt, you want to make your salsa macha. To make salsa macha, you want to preheat about 1.5 cups of oil. Use high quality oils like sunflower oil or peanut oil that have a higher smoke point, and that way you don't run the risk of making your salsa bitter. Once your oil has reached a temperature of about 350 degrees, you want to add your garlic cloves, and you're just going to let them fry until golden brown. Salsa macha originates from the state of Veracruz, and it is an oil-based salsa as opposed to other Mexican salsas that are usually water-based. Once my garlic is nice and golden brown, I'll remove it, and then it'll be time to fry the chilies that go into it. When frying your chilies, it's important to have the container you're going to empty them into close by, as the chili should only fry for 5 to 8 seconds. This is the perfect color, what you're looking for, nice and golden brown. Make sure to drain off excess oil and place in your container. Now it's time to fry some chilies. This is a combination of chile de arbol and chile Pequin. It's called salsa macha because the story goes that only the bravest men or macho men could handle the spiciness of this salsa. A safe way to incorporate chiles into oil is instead of dumping them directly into the oil, place them on your spider and then gently ease them down. They'll save you from any nasty oil burns. Swirl them around. And remember, 10 seconds max. You're not looking for any color change in the oils. We're just giving them a light fry. After 10 seconds, you'll start smelling the chilies, and that is your olfactory cue to get them out. Turn off your oil and let it cool down, as we're going to be using this oil to put our salsa together. Just to recap, we fried the garlic, we fried the chili peppers, and the sesame seeds were toasted in a dry pan into golden brown as well. Now we're going to grind all of these things together. If you don't have a molcajete, the traditional tool to do this in, you can do it in a blender or even a food processor. So I like to start with my garlic and grind that up into a paste. And then I'll be adding the chilies after that. The residue that you see in the molcajete is from the pumpkin seed and chile de arbol crumble that's going to serve as the garnish. And because it shares some of the similar ingredients, chile arbol and another seed, it's okay to use it without having to wash it out. All right, now that my garlic has been smashed into a paste, I'm going to add my chiles. And I'm adding them in 2 batches just so I'm not overwhelmed with the grinding of them. And for the chiles, I'm not looking to grind those into a paste. I'm just breaking them up. Salsa macha is distinctly known for its texture, and it has those bits of chile that you can bite into. So just kind of gather them in the center. I'm just breaking them up into bite-sized pieces, really. I'll add the other half. Make sure to get all my chile Pequin in there too. And just like with the slaw, I kind of want to season as I go. So it's a good moment to add a little bit of salt. And I can always adjust the final amount of salt once all my ingredients are incorporated. Okay, now that my chiles are where I want them to be, I'm going to add my sesame seeds and mix it around. You kind of want to visually have equal amount of chiles and sesame seeds. For the sesame ones, I'm just going to kind of lightly press in some parts. I don't want to break them up completely, because then it'll become too pasty. All right, now like I said, this is an oil-based salsa, so the same oil that we fried our ingredients in is going to become our liquid or the medium for it, and add a little bit at a time. Mix. After you make this and you set it in a jar or your serving container, it's gonna separate. That's natural. So just make sure you give it a good mix before you decide to use it on a taco or anything else. But for us, in this recipe, this is what we're going to season or marinate our chayote in. All right, I've added oil, so now I'm gonna adjust my salt. One of the reasons I love this salsa is its bright, red, vibrant color. It doesn't, it's spicy. Be careful with this one. All right, so that's ready to go. It's been 10 minutes since we seasoned our chayote. Now we're gonna move on to the next step is add this to our chayote so it becomes the spicy chayote we talked about. To cook the chayote, after the 10 minutes that it's set in the salt, where you wanna pat it dry, and notice all that moisture that we were able to draw out from it. The salt has worked its way inside the chayote, seasoning it for us. In a very hot skillet, high heat, enough oil to coat the bottom. What we're gonna do is sear or give our chayote a golden crust. Now we're not gonna cook the chayote completely in the pan. We're actually gonna finish it in the oven, but we do wanna get that nice golden crust, so it's a two-step process. To get the color and crust that we're looking for, it's gonna take about 2 to 3 minutes per side. So just make sure from time to time, tilt your pan around so the oil is making contact with all surfaces. There we go. All right, once both sides have gotten that golden brown color, we're gonna transfer the chayote slices onto a sheet pan. You can turn off your heat. And right now they're cooked about 50 to 60% through, but we're gonna finish them in the oven. And before putting them in the oven, this is where we make it the spicy chayote that we're claiming to make. So we're gonna do a dollop of the salsa macha. Kind of spread it around with a brush. Flip them over on the other side. Repeat the process. And you want to put the chayotes in a 350-degree oven for 10 to 12 minutes. To make the slaw, add your cabbage, your cucumber, the chile serrano wheels, about a tablespoon and a half of red onion into a mixing bowl. A secret to making sure all your food tastes delicious is to season as you go. So I'm not gonna wait until the end to make my seasoning. I'm gonna add some salt just to my ingredients before even thinking about incorporating my dressing. So right now I'm mixing that salt in. I'm making sure that my cucumber, red onion, and serrano are evenly distributed throughout the slaw. Now I'm gonna use some of this dressing. This is a cup and a half of dressing, and you can get 2 batches of slaw out of this. So I'm gonna eyeball it and add half of it. And then I'm gonna gently fold in. And here it's personal preference. I don't like over dressing my slaw. I still like to feel some of the crunch of the cabbage. So I'm more of a lightly dresser. But if you like yours heavy with dressing, that is entirely up to you. And then once again, I will add a little more salt because I've incorporated a new ingredient into the mix, which was the dressing. Also, it's important to taste and adjust. So grab a little bit of that. Add a little more cucumber. And there you go. You can set this aside until it's time to assemble your taco. It's time to assemble the taco. On your plate of choice, start with your tortilla. Then we're going to add some smashed avocado, seasoned with a little bit of salt and black pepper. After the 10 minutes in the oven, the chayote was tender enough for a toothpick to go through it without resistance. So that let me know that it was ready. And then I sliced it into bite-sized pieces, as you can see here. And remember, that salsa macha is super spicy, so we're balancing that heat with this cool cucumber slaw. And then to add a different texture, some crunch, we're adding our pumpkin seed and chile de arbol crumble. And there you have it, spicy chayote taco on a nixtamal tortilla. I've had a blast teaching you these taco foundations and 2 recipes for unique vegetarian tacos. If you make any of the components in these recipes, please tag me through my Instagram at taqueson. And remember, you can visit my website, taqueson.com, to get all the measurements and step-by-step instructions. Thanks again for watching. Adios!